Hello everyone, welcome to another session on Azure Data Factory. So in today's session, we'll see a different use case altogether. One extra thing that we're going to do is we'll do one transformation. Yesterday we have seen only copying of a data. That's what we see, migration, and today we're going to do transformation as well. We will also clear some of the misconceptions that you would be carrying about Azure Data Factory. So to start with, let's understand, some of the concepts about data factory even better and what it is not. The misconceptions probably you would be carrying. So if somebody is asking you today, is Azure Data Factory a migration tool? No, it is not a migration tool. We have seen yesterday that we can do integration with the services and then move the data around it. But if you ask me to, if you ask me, can we move the entire applications from one place to another? We cannot do those things. Okay. Does it offer you a storage capability? No, it does not. In Azure, you have a storage service altogether, like data lake, blob storage. Those are the services provided by them itself, not Azure Data Factory. Can you do a complex transformation here? No, you cannot do a complex transformation here. Some of the transformation that I'm going to teach, there are a lot many actually. So we will see one by one as much we can cover. Okay. So yeah, we'll see few today and few in next of the sessions that I'm going to carry out with you guys. Okay. Yeah. So that's all about it. So let's understand that today the use cases that we are going to do. So imagine that you have sometimes probably you must have got a link and somebody must have told you that this link has the data, you can procure the data from that link, right? So that is an HTTP link. So from that link you draw the data, right? So today we're going to do that through Azure Data Factory. From that HTTP link we're going to draw the data, we're going to put it in a data lake somewhere, some storage account, and then we're going to perform a transformation over there and store the result in some other maybe storage account or a container. Okay. The idea behind is that you could have asked me that why not pull the data from the HTTPS and perform the transformation immediately then and then store the result in an storage account. Okay. But that does not happen. You cannot do this transformation on the fly from the HTTPS. Okay. So what it says is that once you have the data from HTTPS, stage it somewhere, then perform the transformation. So in our case today, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a storage account in data lake, and I'll create a two container. In one container is going to be my input, where I'm going to take this HTTPS file and put it in the input container, and in the result container I'm going to create another container called as result. In that I'm going to store the transformation result over there. Okay, if you have understood this, if you're looking into this picture today, so yes, as HTTPS is my source and the sink is going to be my data lake on the right hand side that you see. So two things that are getting connected here, definitely we need a connector, and the connectors are called as link services that we have seen yesterday. Okay, so again we would be seeing today some of the technical terms that I'll be using it every session, so that it gets ingrained in you. If you're listening to all my videos, you will definitely understand it. You will not get lost as if that you have to follow your previous session, only then you'd be able to understand the present one. So link services are very important that you have to create, and we have also seen with the link services we also create a data sets. Okay, data sets, the importance of the data set is that we let Azure Data Factory know that what kind of a file it is. Is it an Excel file, CSV file, or is it a database, or whatever it is. Okay, link service is just to get a connection done, data set is to identify. Okay. Okay, if you have understood this much, okay. Now, one of the important thing that I have not said, the HTTPS location is going to be my Google Drive. Okay, so if you have a Google Drive, if you have put the file in the Google Drive, okay, you will again get an HTTP link. If you get link there, HTTP link, but you have to do a little tweak in that link, only then you will be able to access. So we'll see how we do that. Okay, so let's jump into the action today. Okay, so I'm into my Azure account today. The first thing first, as we have done yesterday, we're going to do the same thing today. We'll create a resource group first. Okay, resource group are very important that I'm going to create here, because for this project, everything services that I create is going to be using this resource group only. So I'll name the resource group today as training, training training. I'll make it 1E. Okay, underscore 1E. So region is going to be South India itself. I'm going to review and create as quick as it can get. Okay. So today I'm going to pin it to a dashboard. I'll create a new dashboard here and I'm going to name it as training 1D. You could have avoided this step. That is not at all necessary. But today I'm going to show you, if you create a dashboard, how it is going to look like. Okay. So I'll just create and pin it over there. So please avoid this step if you don't want to. If you have created it, that's it. So as of now, if I look into it, my resource group has already got created. Fine. Now what I'll do next is I'll create the storage account. Now this storage account, as I said, there is going to be a two storage account I'm going to make. Okay, first of all, let's create a storage account, not storage account. I'm going to get two container inside one storage account. Okay, so I'll go to storage account here. I'm going to create a new storage account. So yeah, resource group. As of now, I've created training 1E resource. That's going to be my resource. And let's say that I'm giving a storage account name as ASA, which means storage account, TRAINING training 1E. That's the name that I've given to my storage account. Okay. And okay, South India premium, I'm going to put local redundant storage so that it charges me lesser than lesser, because these are all testing cases, right? Training is happening. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do next, because I'm going to create a data lake. See, it's complemented by data lake storage endpoint. Okay, so I'm going to create this enable hierarchy, and then I can review and create it. You don't have to look anything else apart from that. So let it get created. Okay, it hasn't got created yet. Let me create it. Okay, so the motive is that I have this data lake account. Inside this data lake account, I'm going to create a two container. One container is going to hold the data from the HTTPS, and another container will have the result after the transformation that I have implemented on the file. Okay, so as it is getting deployed, one thing that I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you the link. Okay, so where is the link? Okay, now here you see this is my Google Drive. I have got that inventory CSV. Okay, now what is this inventory CSV we have? I'm just going to show you the data. So this is the data I have, which has got inventory serial number, order date, inventory ID, and inventory status. So at the end of the day, I mean, you would always like to compete. You'd always like to see whether how many inventory got processed, finished, closed, done. So at the end of the day, probably you will have to send these details to manager. Okay, so in this session, the transformation that I'm going to carry out, one of the things that I'll do is I'll remove this inventory serial number, okay, which is not at all required. And another thing that I'm going to do, given probably for this month or maybe for this week or whatever data I have, I'm going to carry out a frequency distribution of this entire column, inventory status. Okay, so that's the transformation I'm going to do today. So you can keep that in mind. So I'll just close this. Now let's go back to where we started from. So this is my Google Drive. If I do a right click and get a link here, share, get link, and I'm going to paste it here. Okay, I'll copy the link and let me paste it here. So I'll paste it twice and I'll remove one part of it. Okay, see what I'm doing is I'll remove this part till view. Okay, and from here what I'll do is I'll remove this D till file, and I'm going to mention as UC question ID equals to. That's the only thing that you have to do. So if you look into the top, which was the original link, and the change that I've done is I've removed this file and D. Okay, instead of that I've written UC question mark ID equals to. Now that's the format they have asked for. Okay, so you're going to maintain that. Okay, now let's go back to our this thing. So it is already deployed. My data lake storage is already created. I'm going over there. I'm going to pin it. Okay. So this is my, as you can see, this asset training e which we've just created. I'm just pinning it to this particular. I think I named it as D. Did I mention it as D or E? I think I missed it. Okay. What I'll rather do is I'll just cancel putting it in the dashboard. Leave it aside now. Okay. Data lake storage. I'm going to create a container. I'll create a two container. One container name, I'm going to give it as say for example here input, where we're going to store this HTTP data. Okay. So created. I'll create another container known as results. Okay. I'll create this. So if you see, two containers are done. That's it. One container is going to hold the stage data. Okay. If from the HTTP, another is going to hold the result. The results of the transformation in this folder, in this container. Okay. As of now, all is blank. So I'll leave this and I'll quickly create a duplicate for my convenience. And state where what I'll do is now create a Azure Data Factory. Okay. So I'm here. I'm creating Data Factory here. The resource group, I don't have to create. Training 1E. Name, I'm going to give it as DF. DF as in Data Factory, and then training 1E. Okay. And the reason I'm going to include it as Central India. So yet again, I'm just making that mistake of not putting hyphen, instead under underscore I'll put it hyphen. Okay. So it must accept this. Yeah. So I'll review and create. So my data factory is getting created. Okay. Okay. I'll go to the resources now. So as you see here, I'm into this resource group of 1E, and here the storage account which is already created is there. Slowly now Azure Data Factory will also show up here. I'll just refresh it. Yeah, see, it has come already. So I'll launch the studio. In case you have any questions that you have, you can just put down in the chat. Okay. Now, as I said yesterday, we have author, monitor, and manage. Okay. So these three are the vital ones that we'll be playing with. First thing first, as I said, if you remember, that we'll create the link service. Okay. Now that I've created the storage account, I've also shown you the link, HTTPS link. Now let's create this connector, which is called as linked service, right? So we'll create this link service here. So I'll go down to manage. You see the first thing is link service, new. Now remember I said HTTP, right? That's my source. I'm going to create here. I'll name it as per my convenience, link service, which is an industry practice again, HTTP, and I'm going to say it as a source. Okay. Now base URL. Okay, it says a base URL. Now what I'll do is, this is where I copied it. Till google.com is my base URL. Okay, I'll just copy paste it here. That's all you're going to need it till here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, instead of authenticate, I'll make it anonymous, that anybody can take that file. Okay. And because the file that I'm taking, anybody can actually pull it. So I'll test the connection here. If it shows a good green signal, that means we are all good to go. I'll create it. Okay. So source, it is created. I'll create another link service here, and this link service is going to be for from data factory to the sink. Sink is nothing but my data lake, right? Okay. So I'm going to put data lake here. Now two thing. Okay, here let me create first ls link service. I'm going to make it as this is going to be a data lake, right? So I'm going to mention as lake, and the place where I'm going to put this is an input, right? I mean, it's a name, right? Anything that you can give, but for my convenience, I'm going to give it as input, okay, because it's going to go into an input container. Okay, select subscription, this storage account name, it is asking for a storage account name, and let me see. Okay, and the name was a asa training one. If you remember, that's the storage account name that I've created. Okay, so I'll just create it here. So one link service is done. Okay, but if you see, that's not the end. I'm going to put the result of the transformation to another container, right? So let me create another link service here. So what I'm going to do is, again, it's going to be a data lake. Okay, I could have done it on the fly when I'm generating it, but it's good to call it out right at the beginning, so that at the end you just don't get confused with me creating another data sets. And I'll put that as lake again, and I'm going to mention as results. Okay, so that you will, while I'm selecting this, you would be able to understand which is meant for what. Okay, and the storage account is going to be the same thing again. Okay, now that we have created our data linked services, all that I have to do now, I have to go and create the data sets. So data sets are nothing but letting Azure Data Factory know that what kind of a data it is, whether CSV, Excel database, SQL database, so on and so forth. So I remember, if you remember, it was from HTTP, right? So I'll put HTTP and I'll continue here. And in HTTP, it was a CSV format file. Okay, I'm going to continue here. I'll mention as DS, and then HTTP SOURC. That's the source I have. Okay, DS link services ls HTTP source. Okay, import schema, I'll say from the connection store itself, and I'm going to put it. Okay, sorry, one thing I have not done, I've not given the relative URL. Okay, I'll have to do it again. You have to give this relative URL path. So what I'll do is I'll click here and I'm going to give it here itself. In case if you miss it, see, this is the way to give it. So this is very important. Okay, I'll go back to the same thing, and then I'll copy the rest of the URL apart from this. If you remember, till google.com, we have given it as a base URL, and rest of the thing is going to be your relative URL. Okay, if you've understand this till this much, we are all good to go. Okay, now as this is done, I'm just, since I've made a change, I need it to be saved as well. I'll just do a connection test connection type. It should show all okay, connection successful, relative path is also good. In case if it had failed here, that means your relative path, you have missed to do something. Okay, do remember that if you are putting it from a Google Drive, that UC question ID is very vital. Okay, now schema here, I'm going to import the schema. Let's see, from the connection store, get method, I'll finish it. I've already shown the schema to you in the beginning. See, inventory serial number, order date, inventory ID, order status, parameter. As of now, you leave it. These are all very good component. Okay, if you see here, it's a relative URL. You can make it dynamic. Okay, so there are so many things that we will do, but all in the upcoming session. But let's learn step by step. We have done it till here. Your data set is done. We'll do for my input folder. I'll continue here. I'll select .csv as a format. I'll continue. I'll give it a name called ds lake input. Okay, this is meant for the input folder, lake input. I'll select the folder from here. Okay, that should do it. And yeah, first row should be header from connection store. That should do it. Okay, so you have everything now, and now there should be another data set. Okay, this data set is for the result folder. Okay, where you're going to store the result. Let's say data lake. Okay, and then I'm going to continue here. Now this time the results I'm going to put it in a JSON format. So you must be tired of me selecting CSV, right? So let's look at it here. Okay, DS, and this is also going to be a lake, but this is result. Okay, and I'm going to select ls lake result. Okay, few of the things that I've not done, I have not browsed it. Okay, let me browse and let me put it. Okay, that's it. So everything is staged now. I can publish all the ones. Okay, publishing is very important. Publishing means you have implemented all of these changes. The folders and everything is ready right now. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to do a data flow. Now, no, sorry. Let me first of all copy the data. Okay. Now, when you copy the data, we'll create a quick pipeline here, and then I'll copy data. Okay. Now, for copying source I'll select as HTTP source. Okay, and then sync is going to be my as I said, it's going to be my DS lake input in the input folder. Okay, so I can go about creating a timer or triggering it, all that I can do, but I can I can do this trigger right away now. Okay, okay, let me just do this trigger for you. I'll create a trigger here, new trigger. The time is all set. Is it already 9? Okay, 9. Okay, I'll make it 9, and we are just 1 o'clock at night. Okay, so it's 1 o'clock. It's 1 9, so I'm going to put 110. Okay, just in second it should happen. Okay, if you're lucky, little fast, then it will happen. I'll have to quickly publish the changes. Okay, it is already 10. It may or may not work. Okay, let's see. I don't think it will work here. If I go to monitor here, let's see if the pipeline is getting kicked off. No, it's not getting kicked off. That means I'll have to try once again. Okay, I'll put it. I'll put a trigger here, new edit this trigger, and then I'll put it 9 and we are, I'm going to put it 11, or let me make it sorry, what did I do? Let me put it 12 here. Okay, and then it shake, and let me publish it. Yeah, so we'll have to hold on here. So I'm in the monitor, I'm just checking. As soon as my clock strikes the time, it should start. Okay, I'm just refreshing it. It should happen anytime if everything is correct. Okay, you see the pipeline is created already, it's on progress. Okay, so let's see if the data is getting copied. It's in AC training, it should be in the input folder. If all is good, the data should be here. Yeah, you see the data is here. Okay, the naming has totally jeopardized it. Okay, but yeah, it's all good. So what I'll do here is now I'm going to create a data flow. Now for the data flow, this is what you have to do. New data flow. Okay, now data flow is where you are going to apply all the transformation. You have the file getting created. That means from HTTPS you have brought it to input folder. Now you're going to do the transformation. So I'll quickly add source here. What is my source? If you remember, my source is the place where I have the data right now, which is in the DS lake input. Okay, that's where you have your source data. Now you have two options. Okay, that is dataset and inline. The difference is inline, once created, it's gone. It's no longer going to show you here. Okay, so whenever you have a reason to use it just for once and then gone, you use inline. Dataset, once you create, it's going to stay here. as long as you want to have it written, as long as you don't delete it. Okay, so allow schema diff, I'll keep that as is, and I'll just open this up, and I'll just browse it to the input folder, and I'll just name this. Okay, so it is going to pick that schema, import schema, connection, store. Okay, so everything is done again in the data flow. It's all good. So I have already given it. Okay, so I have let know that the source of the data for the transformation to happen, it's going to pick it from this data set. Okay, DS lake input. Now what are the transformation, as I said, I'm going to do here? First transformation is you will have to do select. Okay, that is, you're selecting the table. So far you have the source, now you're selecting the table. For selecting the table, these are very self-explanatory, which are ticked already, skipping the duplicate columns and all. If you see, there are 4 columns. As I said, few of the transformation, I'm going to delete the invent serial number, so I'm just going to delete it from here, and it should get deleted from there as well. Okay, okay, now it's got deleted. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is, once this is deleted, that means for the further things I will not have that column altogether, only these 3 columns. Okay, the next what I'm going to do is I'm going to just aggregate. So in aggregation, what I'm going to do is group by. Okay, it's going to be on group by. I'll select the column. The group by is going to be on inventory status. If you remember, as I said, that I will count the frequencies of all inventory status. Okay, and that has to be aggregated on which column? You'll have to select this column. Okay, here that has to be selected. I'll make it inventory ID. Okay, and then you have to give the expression here. So what is the expression going to be? It's going to be count, as simple as you can understand. Count. Your column ID is going to be inventory underscore ID. Okay, that's it. Save and finish. Once you've save and finish, that's it. Okay, you have it. Next is, we'll sync this data into the result folder, whatever result comes out of it. Okay, I'll type in sync. See, sync selected. Now the data set has to go somewhere, that is, you must have already guessed, in DS lake result. That's the thing that I've created, right? So yeah, so I have done in the entire pipelines. So this is how it should look. Okay, and the next thing that you're going to try from here is, okay, now one of the things that I've not said is data flow debug. Okay, this is a very this thing, a very important thing, but if you try to enable it, it's going to charge you. Okay, because it's going to create an immediate cluster. The reason why I didn't create, or probably you want to create, if you want to create, you can preview the data every time. Okay, there will always be an option which I have past already come across. I couldn't show it to you. You'll have an option called data preview. So if you click there, intermediary results will be shown over there. Okay, aggregate, select, you could have viewed that, but given that I know all of these things, that's the reason I didn't want it to charge myself. Okay, so that's your data flow debug. You can at this backend, as I said, right, PySpark would be created, all the queries would be created in PySpark. So you could have seen this then and then. Okay, now the sync is done, my entire set is ready. All that I have to do is now set up a pipeline. Already one pipeline is created. I'll create another pipeline, and in this pipeline I'm going to put this data flow, but let me give you a good name to it. Okay, so this is a training underscore 1e, right? That's the name that I've given for all the things that I've given. This is the name, so it'll look good. That's the reason. So I've given this name. Now I'll go to pipeline 2, which I've just created. Okay, I can give it a name 2 here, training 1e. I'll say it pipeline so that we don't confuse, given that I've given the same name to everything. So I'll copy it here, my data flow. Okay, whichever I've just created. So this is it, and here that's it. I just need to trigger it. To do is, you have to create a new trigger. Okay, new trigger, and I'll go here, and then I'll mention the date. Today it is 9th, and we are just about 1:33. Okay, 1:33 a.m. So I'm just going to mention it here on the top one, and then it's going to be 133. So it's 133. I'm going to make 134. Let's see how close we get. 134, and I'll have to quickly publish it so that we are on time. Okay, I hope it just gets triggered. 134. Okay, it's publishing. Okay, let's see whether it got triggered or not. You see, everything is on progress. Okay, so if all gets worked, okay, we should have a result here. But this is going to be a time taking process. The reason why I say it's a time taking process, because your PySpark will get initiated right now. So you'll see the time has, a time it will be ticking, and then if I just do refresh every time, so all these things it will show. So many things it is showing, so many times it is showing in progress because I've made a lot of atoms here. Okay, so that's the reason. But in your case, it should be showing only one. Okay, that's it. I mean, I'll just show what, I'll just pause it. Okay, so that's here. I mean, it took a long time, but if I go into my result folder, if you see, there is a new file that got created. These are all part files because PySpark has run. If you remember, it was in a JSON format. That's why you see this curly braces. And yeah, all the frequency numbers are here. If you see inventory ID, fraud with one, this and that. So all the numbers have come all together. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you so much for being